has another album coming out. The woman has another album coming
She called someone. What was it? She called somebody. It was like on a cooking show or like one of those things like last week. And they were like, this better not happen. Somebody. I don't know. Hi, everyone. Welcome to.
Hi, everyone.
I'm so excited. Later.
And my coloring is like, the light doesn't know what to do with me.
You are in the disco. I'm wearing my hat in honor of the Big Hat Brunch here in Waco, Texas.
You look fantastic.
I can't wait.
Fantastic. Let's go with all the Insta pictures with that today, please.
I will. I will start, I'll even wear it in the car and hope it doesn't blow off.
Seriously, you look great. I don't know what's wrong with my camera today, but it is like, I don't know. It's making me look.
I just got a new computer because you might need a new computer. I just got a new computer, and let me tell you, I didn't even know how horrible my life was.
I mean, look at me.
Is it doing it all by itself? What is it?
No. I'm trying to like fix it so I don't look so washed out.
It's not working.
It's not working. Whatever. Here we are. I'm here.
Hello, humans.
Hey, David. So, David, by the way, I just happened to see. Good morning to everyone. So glad to see everybody. David, like, crushed it at a state conference in Kentucky and had his booth had pigs, like squeezy pigs. And so they were the hit of the Kentucky conference. So
everybody wanted the pig.
Everybody wanted a dirty pig from Payroll Partners. I don't know if they called them dirty. That might be my word for it, but that's what they wanted, a dirty pig.
Listen, conference season is coming up.
Oh, I just got back from the state conference in Florida yesterday.
You love all the conferences.
I did get to speak, and it was super fun. And
what was your topic? Something light and fun, I'm sure.
Bippity boppity boo. The magic of recruitment and retention. Because it was in Orlando. I mean, come on.
Oh, right? I get it. That was cute. That was super cute.
I had the bippity boppity boo. Like that song is only like a minute and a half.
Right.
And I had it on loop. And so the people that got in, like wanted to get a seat like 20 minutes ahead of time, they hated their lives because they just kept hearing that song over and over and over again. So, oh my gosh. Now, Dion, aren't you going to this thing today?
Well, Dion's in Austin.
Oh, Dion, drive.
Dion, next year you have to come and wear the hat. Just drive up. It's a nice little luncheon.
Can you talk about, in all seriousness, can you talk about this organization for a second, though?
Yeah, so this one is with the Central Texas African American Chamber. And then they have a separate organization that helps people get back into the place. So it's called Esther's Closet. I don't want to say anything wrong, but there's like a clothing store right there in Waco, right? But it's for professional clothing and workforce development, right? So people who want to get back into work and work on their careers. So this is just a branch that supports that organization and helping women going back to work. And it's called Women of Distinction.
I mean, you look
hence the hat.
Fierce. You got that. You honestly, you have the moonlighting lighting going. Do you remember Moonlighting with Sybil Shepherd?
Moonlighting. Oh my gosh.
Right. She, in her contract, if you watch an episode, she required there to be special soft lighting all around her. So anytime they went to a scene where she was at the desk,
are you serious?
She looked different because the soft light was different for her than for Bruce Willis. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. It was like in her contract because she always had this like beautiful glow about her.
She did always have a beautiful glow about her.
Yes. Gorgeous, Kai. Good morning. She looks gorgeous.
I appreciate. Listen, I'm so excited.
I put lip gloss on too, though.
By the way, I got my first like dress, a full church dress. And I was like, I'm not going to wear that. All my girlfriends were making fun of me. They're like, you're going to look like the church lady. So
this collar is everything though, because it frames your face nicely. It's very nice.
I'm all about
Bring that to HR Tech Conference in a few weeks.
Okay.
Just pack you because you want to change for dinner. So make sure you pack it.
I do want to change for dinner. I do not want to have. I can't because Vegas is disgusting. I have to change for dinner because I'm always walking around with these nasty t-shirts.
Can you please give everyone the 411 on your absolute manicness when it comes to getting changed?
It's gross. Listen, I don't know what it is. My mom, it's just trauma induced. Fully trauma induced.
Not trauma.
My mother used to make us change for dinner. Even if it was just us and you had to put lipstick on. Like it was a whole. And now, so when we get ready to go to dinner, I don't understand why I'm the only one. When it's time for to go to dinner, I'm like, okay, I'll be right back. And everybody's like, what?
I mean,
I thought you said we were going to dinner.
No, I mean, meanwhile, here comes me and Robin who are like, I don't care what do I have on? Great.
And it's pre-planned, right? Like I don't take very long, but I'm definitely not wearing what I wore. You don't want people to see you in the evening for dinner, what they saw you in at noon. John's like, I could care less.
I could care less. I mean, I wore one time, whatever I put on in the morning, that's what I'm ripping off before I go to bed. That's it. That's where I'm at in life, y'all. I'm not dressing for dinner. But it's funny that you say this because I do hear from, and I don't know if it's cultural. If it is, I'm not really sure what culture, but the lipstick thing, I've absolutely heard numerous times from women where they were like, growing up, my mom was always like, make sure you put your lipstick on.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if I always thought it was Black women with the red lip, but I don't know if it's just like Northeast or whatever, Dion. And I think there was a thing like there was always this, we had to dress up. It was always a big thing, especially when you were like, people were marginalizing you. It's like, wait, hold up. No, because we ain't got that life. Like, we're showing people who it was. And I think it was just good practice.
I mean, it's not a bad habit, I guess.
Well, it is annoying when there's 25 people and you have to go change clothes. But
well, I mean, and we're all waiting down by the elevators for you to come back.
What are y'all doing? Y'all drinking? Y'all talking? Y'all ain't doing nothing.
We aren't doing anything. That's true. Now, Steven said he changes 3 times a day. I guess I should say, I mean, I do put like workout clothes on when I first wake up and then get out of those, shower and get changed. I guess that's true. But like at the Florida conference this week, I was like, I'm not bringing a ton of clothes. And so worked out, showered, got changed for the day for the conference. And that is what I wore the whole day, even to the frou-frou fancy dinner that I got to go to one of the nights. Thank you, Ethos Benefits, for hosting the small dinner party that you did. And it was a lovely 3-course Italian meal and wine pairing. And it was lovely. So thank you all so much.
Well, last night I had Todd made salmon, crispy skin salmon on the cast iron, and it was fabulous.
Now, Jamie is here, and so he's got to start trouble because I did. We went to a steakhouse last year in Vegas, and I had like not crappy flip-flops, but I had like nice flip-flops on. And the dress code as you walk in, it says no flip-flops. And I was like, well, these cost more than, these aren't Old Navy flip-flops. Like I'm wearing these. And I wore, so Jamie said I wore open-toed sandals. No, they were flip-flops, but they were nice flip-flops.
See, me and Dion are from the same, like cut from the same cloth. Look, I made my boys wear a shirt with a collar to school in elementary school through high school. Yes.
But now, like, it's back to school time for everybody.
Yes.
Is that like Dion? I wonder if like, are you still seeing that there's some remnant of that happening with people going to school? I'm not talking about school uniform, but like they could wear whatever they want, but my kids are going to wear a collared shirt. Is that still happening?
The thing is, it's like our boys are, 20s. And what happens when they start going out into the world, that you'll meet people who don't know what to do, right? You don't know how, and I mean, people have various choices or various things, but as you're exploring, you really do. It's like you really need, I don't know. I think that there are different things. Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yep. Yeah. And that I appreciate, right? Because I do think that there is something.
We used to have to dress up and we dressed up at home, and especially when we traveled.
Yeah, that is fair, Dion. Thank you. But I think it's a worthy conversation because I don't know that everybody really appreciates that. Like,
yeah,
why a family would have to have that kind of talk in house about how to dress going out.
Listen, the world's already trying to kill you. It's not going to be because of that. I'm not going to help.
I mean, it's true. And it's
right?
funny that we're talking about coaching, because I will tell you, there are times that I've had to coach people in dress, right? Like to say that what you're wearing is not necessarily going to give you the vibe of receptivity that you want. I know we say we don't care anymore. Look at Zuckerberg.
But
He
it
wears
makes
a hooded,
a difference.
sweaty, you know.
Who you feel different. I feel like you feel different. And I do think it's like, I think that if you look nice, match, iron, that's the thing that drives me crazy. Like, it doesn't matter if you don't have to wear designer clothes. This is like an Instagram dress special. It's like a $20
It's super
Instagram
cute.
special, and it's so cute. And I have it in green, I have it in this one, and I'm telling you, $20, like whatever. But and it's also ironed, and it don't have stains and whatever. If you're going and you are wearing t-shirts and jeans to work, fine.
Yeah.
Don't go wrinkled. Like, I think look like you're putting effort in on purpose. You will feel better just in general. Because I do have days, because trust me, because I just work back there by myself, and there are days that,
yeah. Well,
I mean, I
you know
usually
what?
have slides on every day. But if I have half of my pajamas on, I just feel gross all day.
Yeah. When I started Humoriso 12 years ago and I was working in my basement, I mean, it was part of the discipline. I got up, I showered, I dressed as if I was going into an office setting, and went down into the basement, and it was just me in the basement. And because it was a mindset thing. Totally agree with that. And I know that's not the case for everybody, but
it
that
isn't the case for everybody. But I do think that it's much different because you don't have as many examples. I mean, I think Sweet Baby TJ worked at a pizza place. The rest of the time, he's seen me at home. Like, wasn't like
Sweet Baby TJ will wear a 3-piece suit. Let's be clear.
Wear a 3-piece suit. He will wear. But like, people are working at home. They don't have examples of what business appropriate is, and I don't know what business appropriate. George, I want to talk to you about something. By the way, when I talk to you, so
George,
did you
called out
around the block when you were?
No, I didn't. But I mean, Kathy used to laugh at me because I was like, "Okay, I'm going to work," and she'd be like, "Okay." It was a mindset thing for me, because I knew that if I was lazy about it, like just what you said, like even if I wear the bottom half was like my pajamas or warm-up shorts or something like that, and I'm like, I'm not 100% in it. I wear a collared shirt every day.
I wear sometimes, like, I love conversation shirts. Like, I love words on my shirts.
We know.
But it's intentional. It's on purpose. I just got another one that says, "Go ahead, call HR." Go ahead.
So, I mean, I got a text message the other day from my former pastor, and he said, "Hey, thinking of you." Wait, where does it say? He's like, I was walking down the street, and a guy walked by wearing a shirt that said "walking HR violation," and he just randomly texted. He's like, "Oh, it made me think of you." I was like, "Okay, that's hilarious." By the way, we have. Oh, Mandy. Yes.
That's right.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Now, I know, by the way, I do want to make sure, right, as we talk about this from a coaching standpoint, there is disparity in traditional gender lines when it comes to this sort of stuff as well. Like, there's no makeup on this face. Right. Like, I know we're saying, Jackie, how beautiful you look today, but and I mean this, like, you had to put some more effort than I did today in terms of, right?
Right. I hopped out the shower and I had to stay forever. Like, at the counter, where usually it's just like, and let me tell you something. John and I both exercise. We both are big dorks.
Yes.
My body is very efficient. I'm just like, oh, so it takes extra work.
But I mean, obviously I've been married for 26 years. My mom did makeup and all, like her own makeup and all. It's like foundation. And I don't even know all these things, by the way. I'm going to say a bunch of words that I have no idea what they are, but foundation and concealer and my dad used to still call it rouge, and I was like, it's blush. She's like, no, it's rouge. I mean, right?
Rouge.
Rouge.
Yes.
And your tube of lipstick. And I was like, well, no, I had no tube of lipstick.
Tuba lipstick. Don't nobody got no tuba lipstick.
But I'm not sitting in front of the mirror. The longest I ever stood in front of the mirror was when I had hair and had to blow dry my hair, parted in the middle and feathered back. That took a minute. That took a minute. Feathered. I got to find a picture of that. I mean,
but I think the point is literally,
Kyra, come on, of course.
Effort with intention. I think everything that you end up doing with intention, you end up feeling better. I think for me, what's always interesting is the perception. I get weird perceptions sometimes, where it's like, oh, they assume I'm a certain title, or assume that I'm doing those things, and sometimes it does make sense. Yeah. But I also, when I go to places in situations, I try to layer and be ready. So that's, I think, is something else that's really important. Like, just
but do you feel like when you started getting further along in your career, from a coaching standpoint, when you got further along in your career, did you have people giving you intentional sort of coaching conversations around appearance?
Here's what I used to like. My favorite is stay ready. You don't have to get ready for whatever. Like, you need to be ready for whatever situation. So you stay ready and you don't have to get ready, because there's no such thing as luck. It's opportunity meets like situation, right? So it was always that, like, what if, and my mom used to say that too. I don't know where she got, where it was like, what if the president comes over for dinner?
Yeah.
Which they never did.
Never. Really?
But we were ready. Like, what if somebody wanted to, what if something like that? So it was always like that. Oh, is it a Guys and Dolls mug, John?
It is.
Are you going to sing now?
I love you, a bushel and a peck, a bushel and a peck, and a hug around the neck. It certainly is a Guys and Dolls mug. I used to sing this to my kids when they were little all the time. And so, but I'll do that. We've done this before. I will do the entire Guys and Dolls musical. Right. Honestly,
I think,
one time.
Didn't we say one day we're going to do Les Mis? We were going to do
a whole lot of things. You and I, we're going to do the updated version of The Sound of Music.
But first, Phantom of the Opera.
Dun, 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 dun.
We have enough people, just 2 people.
One of my good friends from college was the Phantom in the traveling tour for years. Tim Gleason. Tim crushed it. My gosh, he could sing.
I got to tell you a true story. I took a girl to Broadway. She had never been to Broadway, never seen a play before. And so we were in New York, and Phantom was there, of course, because it was there for a million years. So it was like, let's go see. They didn't know about the falling chandelier.
Oh, yeah.
Screamed.
It's traumatic. Yeah,
bloody murder, because they had no idea. And I was like, girl, she had no idea. And she really thought that thing was falling and going to kill us.
It is scary. I mean,
it is scary if you haven't heard of it before.
That it's a little different now, but I'm telling you, in the 80s, when this thing is falling from the ceiling, you're like, what's happening? Like, I
just cracked up. It's been doing it for 25 years.
I know.
But it was just so funny.
Don't go to a Broadway show with me, though. I'm going to tell you all, I appreciate it. If you want to invite me, buy me tickets. I know, just be ready. I'm going to cry. There's no way I don't even think ever been to, I don't care
cry on the way.
I cry every show. I'm choked up on something. Les Mis, I was like a sobbing wreck. I'm the worst. I am the worst. I don't want to get off track. I'm sorry. No,
I know. No, I think that the coaching is really important. And I also think that people, like, part of what coaching is, if you think about like an actual team, you're not doing it for them. You're giving them enough tips so that they can be their best self. And that's why I always say, like, I'm never going to tell somebody, make sure you wear a suit or make sure you polish your,
right.
I'm just going to say, do your best with what you have. Like, you want to be ready for different situations.
But you would for your kids. Yes. Like, if you were with your kids and they were going to an interview or going to some, wouldn't you give them the up and down if you didn't like what they had on?
Oh, yeah. Because I told you, it's like passed on trauma. I've passed on that trauma to my own children.
Yeah.
They know.
That's our responsibility. I mean.
That's right. generational.
I mean, Frankie was going to an interview. I'd be like, I'm sorry, is that what you're going to wear to the interview?
Right.
Yeah, Dad, it's no big deal. Oh, no. No.
I'm like, yeah no.
You get upstairs right now. Right. Yeah.
And I think that, like, also, like, don't borrow your well, I don't know why we're like us fashionistas, but it's like, get something that fits. Make sure you have something that fits.
Yes.
And sometimes it's better to like get something that you like if you have a chance. And I'm not talking about bespoke tailoring. I'm talking about pulling it stuff in to make sure that you look nice and having eventually investment items that you can like wear on a regular basis. You need to have your standard, a jacket.
I'm serious. For guys, I'm always like, go to Goodwill. I know that you're like, ugh.
You can do shopgoodwill.com, by the way, and there's so much.
Can you really?
Yes, because I'm a North Face addict. Like you do shopgoodwill.com and you can get everything there from.
I didn't realize you
and
could do
they
that.
have a designer one too.
I always would tell guys, go and get a sport coat. I'm not asking you to buy a whole suit. Just get a sport coat. One that's inexpensive that fits. There's a
unclaimedbaggage.com. Have you ever heard of unclaimed baggage?
I have, but I've never done anything with it.
Unclaimed baggage, they will have, usually if they have your size, they have tons of things like that where people didn't go back and pick up their suits or their.
I gotta look. I'm all about that. I always tell people about my kids: first word mom, second word dad, third word clearance. I mean, that's how it was in my house. We had to teach them correctly. But I will look that up. But I love what you're saying about. I have to tell you, I did an interview not that long ago, and someone came in and I think they wanted to like dress for success, and I have no idea, where they got this sport coat. Was like it was talking to David Byrne from Talking Heads. This thing was monstrous.
Wearing your dad's suit. It's like, don't come here wearing your dad's suit.
No, I'd rather just wear a button-up shirt.
I'd rather just not have a suit.
Right.
Because it looks so funny.
My dad was very big on appearance, and so he would, and it was tough sometimes because he would comment on like lots of stuff that you would like. What do you look like? What you're wearing? That kind of stuff. And when you're a teenager, when you get to that point, you're like, this is what we wear. Like, this is, yes, I appreciate that I have, all kinds of paint splashes on these shorts. They're called jams. I got it. You would never wear them. I appreciate it. But this is what we wear to school. Like so I always had this like voice, like if I walked out on my dad, because when you looked good, then he'd be like, you look sharp. Look at you. That you look sharp. And then you were like, oh, thanks. Like then you were happy that, so it mattered, right? These opinions of other people do affect us. And sometimes when you go to coaching, I remember being coached early on and someone said to me, why are you fidgeting? I was sitting there fidgeting a little. And I said, because I realized I put the wrong belt on. And they were like, did I tell you that? And I was like, no, I just know. And I didn't even realize that I was like sort of fidgeting with my hands. And it was because of like a certain color shoe and my belt needed to be a certain color. And like, it just gets in your head and could really like psych you out. And when you're in the business world, why psych yourself out? Like there's enough pressure with other stuff than worrying about your belt.
Right. Or the other thing that you can do, like there was early in my career when I was doing speaking engagements, I just decided to wear the same thing every time I did a speaking engagement. And it was like my speaking dress.
Jennifer McClure did the same thing. Yes.
Yeah. It was just this gray dress. And I used to wear, when I decided I was just going to wear Converse at conferences, is when I started going to those Vegas conferences. And I lived in South Florida, and in South Florida, the shoes, oh my, like they were, and I was like, I can't do this in Vegas. So I just became known for wearing Converse, and that's all I wore Converse. And then there was a time where I wore one dress and I made the investment in that one dress from when I was speaking. Like you can have, I think it's smart, especially as you're going, like you already know in advance what you're gonna wear for an interview or to dinner or whatever, and you have it with you. So again, you can stay ready.
It is interesting because one of the things that coaching helps and I know we've been talking about appearance, right? About dress, but there is one, it's connected to one area that I often find coaches spending time on, which is building confidence, right? So it is something that I think a lot of business leaders, believe it or not, even the ones that come across as if they're cocky and know everything, that really often comes from a place of a lack of confidence and they're overcompensating, right? And I think sometimes when you feel good in what you're wearing, like I look good, I feel good in what I'm wearing, that helps to sort of jumpstart some of the confidence that you need, right? Like
I think you sit up a little bit straighter when you're like, oh, like
yes.
I just feel really good about yourself. And you also know that that's not going to bother you. I used to work at Macy's. I have a Macy's problem. So
Still, do you still?
No, I'm good. But still,
Okay.
I always want to kind of.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know you had one. I wasn't. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to at least go through. And I want to go to that little, that section. Y'all, literally, you can get clothes at Macy's cheaper than Goodwill.
Absolutely true. Absolutely true.
I got Todd like a Hugo Boss suit one time for $17. Brand new.
Absolutely true. Brand new.
It would have sold for $50 at Goodwill.
It was a size 64 long, but he looked fantastic.
But here's the thing, like you want to stand out. And I think that's one way. But here's another thing, folks, on standing out. Put your phone down or don't pull it out. When you're in a review.
Talk about that.
Business review, a job interview, don't even pull your phone out.
I love that you're saying this. So I will tell people if I'm sitting with them, I'm still old school. Here it is, the JAB. There's the JAB.
Yeah, and you know me.
I'll take my notes, right? I take my notes when I'm interviewing. I can't hear you. And so I'll say to them, if you would like to do the same, please feel free. And I have to tell you, I love when people say, I actually would love to, but I'd use my notes app on my phone. Would that be a problem if I do that? Absolutely not. The fact that you've just told me, right, that you're doing that, I'm cool with that. But you're totally right otherwise.
Right.
Totally right.
Because even if you are just taking notes, you put your phone down and you just back away. One of the things that's important too is that you do have notes and journal the situation. It's so helpful. So just so that if you remember people, especially as we approach conference season, that you write down if you meet somebody new or have those things and you journal, like, this is where I was, this is who I met. These are some of the things that stood out just really quickly. It can help you in the long run. There's a girl, I'm telling you, she has introduced herself to me 25 times.
And you still don't remember her?
Being an asshole now. Huh?
Oh, I thought because you didn't remember her every time. I was like,
I always act like I have no idea who she is because I'm so annoyed. So I think we're both playing this game where she's like, watch, I'm going to introduce myself to Jackie and she's going to be pissed off. And then she's going to act like she doesn't know who I am. And then when she comes to me, I'm like,
I want to tell you something. I forgot to tell you this at the beginning.
What?
And I'll get right back to the coaching, I promise. But I promise. I was walking down the hall at the conference this past week in Florida, and someone, I don't want to say her name because I think she's watching. She kind of came up to me, and it was like, I could tell it took a lot for her to like come up, and she said, "Excuse me," and I was like, "Yeah, what's," and she said, "I just want to tell you that I watch you and Jackie every week, and it makes me so happy to watch." And she was like nervous saying that. And she's like, "I know this is weird." I'm like, "It's not weird at all. Thank you so much for that. And we really appreciate you watching." And she's like, it's just so great. I just love it every week. So
please come up to us when you see us, because we literally think that it's just me, Dawn, Dion, Kyra.
Seriously, I was just going to say, Kyra always is telling me, she's like, "I love watching
Kyra, Jamie."
It's like the two of you are just having a conversation and you don't even care that anybody else is there. It's just we get to be a part of what you two are talking about.
I think that is actually my favorite, by the way. When people see us in person and they're like,
yeah.
They can't say hi because they can't jump in because we're both sitting there like, oh my God. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah,
we sit in the front row at all of the presentation. Y'all,
we are the worst. And
we sit in the front row.
Yeah. And we comment to each other the entire time. We are an absolute distraction to anybody who's presenting. Yeah.
No one knows when you cover your mouth.
No one. No. But I can't help but the guttural noises, though. Somebody will say something. I'm like, oh.
Oh. And we're old and we can't hear and we can't whisper.
Oh my gosh. That
guy's bracelet.
Truth. We were so loud. We are so loud. And we're like, this is the whisper, right? Hey, did you see that? This does not mean it's a whisper.
John, look at I'm whispering. John.
And the problem is if Katie is with us, then we're in trouble because she's like, you two.
Right. Stop talking about that guy's hat. I think we just get a little louder.
Oh my gosh.
A little louder.
But to your point about like the phone, I know that in some cities, honestly, even for some SHRM chapters, that sometimes, because you can really do this boots on the ground, they'll run like interviewing workshops for folks of any age, right? It's not just like high school seniors or college age. Like they'll run some interviewing tips, resume tips, but also just how to interact with people. I would totally do that. Like if you haven't, even if it's been a while, if you're like, hey, I'm back in the job market, I would go and do one of those sort of like interviewing boot camps just to sort of brush up on some stuff, because you might be surprised from a like cultural or even colloquial standpoint, like what we used to do isn't the way things are done right now, but also it'll remind you of things that you sort of forgot about. Eye contact is a fantastic call out. When I get to coach people who are seeking a role, I'll do mock interviews and that sort of stuff. It's fascinating to me how often eye contact is like not where it should be. Because I think we just got used to the phone and like looking elsewhere
all the time. We're always looking for something. Yeah. And when it's just you and a person, I'm nervous because there's nothing to look at. I'm bored instantly.
Yeah. And there are like I see Nikki, good morning, by the way. I see Nikki's here and some other people who do recruiting. Like, do you give that feedback to people? I wonder if we're too nervous we think, well, I'm not a business coach, but you could still give like coaching feedback to someone to say, let me tell you what that experience was like. Here's where things went really well. Here's where for the next interview, you might want to pay, this role is not the role for you, but I at least want to tell you when you interview next for a different role, don't be hesitant to shake hands with somebody or look them in the eye or whatever the feedback is. I think we need to help people do that because I don't know how else people would learn.
We do. And hi, Scott. I love Scott. The other part is on Zoom. When people have their screen in a different place than somebody else, and it's like,
yes, Scott.
I'm already bad enough. Like I don't know where to look when people take pictures. I'm always like looking at the wrong place, and I'm like, I don't know.
I know, because you're taking a picture, and you're like, well, what hole am I looking at?
And then they put it sideways, and you're like, oh, am I still looking up? No, I don't.
Yeah. Or if it's a selfie, forget about it, because you're like, well, I think it's up top. And then they show me the picture and I'm like, why am I looking to the left? Well, I thought that's where the camera was.
By the way, I'm going to tell one on Scott. So Scott is like, him and I met in a like young leadership organization many, many moons ago. And then he was a client and then I was a client. So I used Scott to write my resume. He's the only one that I recommend that writes resumes, and he's just so good and he knows what's going on in the industry. I don't trust anybody else to do it. If you need help getting your resume together, Scott Singer is your guy. Just let him know. That. Not kidding. Worthy investment. He's great.
Honestly, Scott, hey, if you would do us a favor, will you throw your LinkedIn profile, give a link? You are not, that is not what that means, because then we're all old.
We were in the young leadership. Now we're in the old leadership. That's what somebody said. I was like, they're like, you're in junior league. Where's older league? Not funny.
I talk about decrepit leadership. I mean, I appreciate that's where I'm at. Listen, it's been a rough time. This is some coaching we need to have happen as well. It's been a rough time the past couple of weeks because some of us have experienced some chatter on the interwebs about the up and comers versus the old folks and get out of the way. And there's been some articles put out. There's also been some articles put out about the tension between HR tech and HR practitioners and all that good stuff. Look, y'all, there's not enough of us. Like, can we all just get along? Can we just get along?
There's not enough. Listen,
I mean,
we're already divided.
Why? Right? Like
there's already HR people, like all these different groups. And the thing is, it's like, recognize there's a place for everyone. We all like.
And listen, you and I are not everyone's cup of tea. Let's just be honest. I know. It's actually pretty shocking because we do have millions of fans. So I have zero idea who's left.
Absolutely shocking.
Like, we're just not everybody's cup of tea. Right. I think that's okay. But I think there's a big difference between you're not my cup of tea and now, therefore, I'm going to speak out against you. Why?
Unnecessary.
Why? Just find what you like. You don't have to tear other people down. That is important.
I think that's really important. I also think it's important to get your stories together. I especially for job seekers. Like, don't tell people, when people ask you all the time if you're looking for work, really come up with who you see yourself as and where you want to be. So like so it's very clear when they talk about the elevator pitch, you imagine you only have a couple of seconds and you're looking for a job and people want to help you, right?
Yeah.
And you say, oh, I'm looking for a job as an admin. And they're like, oh, I don't know any admins. Like, they look left, look right. And they're like, no, I don't know anybody. And you're like, okay, thanks. They don't know how to help you. So I used to always say, I'm looking to change the world through finding people for the world of work. I work in the world of work. My job is to make the world of work better. I want to work in an environment that embraces people with brand new innovative ideas. So then they can start thinking about, I know somebody that you should talk to, even if they're not sure of the role. Maybe they know an environment, or I'm really looking to stay at home, a place where I can do this kind of work, but I want to work in my home. They might know a place that's remote and say, you should talk into these people. Like, be clear on your story so that you don't make it really awkward, because like, why aren't they helping me? And then it's like, nobody knows anybody, but they don't know how to help.
They don't know how to help. And I love this because that is absolutely right. So I've coached people for years, right? This is an area of my responsibility as a coach, in part, is to help you see what gaps you may have either in areas of knowledge, areas of communication, or translation of what you know. You may know a ton, but you're not really doing a great job of being able to sort of give that away or offer it to others. So there's always some area of gap to pay attention to. That was awesome, because that's a gap for people. I can't figure out how I want to portray myself, how I want to sort of be known. Right. And so I know that in the recruiting space, we're talking a lot more over the last, 8-10 years around job persona, rather than just the bulleted list. Not that the job description bulleted list isn't important. That's not what I'm saying. But that also, like, what is the persona of someone that would do well here? And I'm not talking about like discriminatory persona. I just mean give a flavor to it, because not everybody thinks linear. Some people think more complex. So what does that persona look like? If I walk in as the candidate and I can't identify my own persona to offer to you, they may not know how to align that, right? Then you're asking them to honestly be a detective the entire time. And most hiring managers have no time to sit there and be a detective. They don't.
No, and it's unfortunate. I give real feedback to candidates, and sometimes I'm just cringing because I know what they're going to say, where I'm like, I was there in the interview. You had a lot of really great points, really didn't have a plethora of skills that we were looking for. We asked a couple of different times. I know that I sent these things, and the way that you presented your skills made it seem like it wasn't going to be a good fit. And then they're like, but I got, and it's like, I'm very specific with the word to let them know, this is the way this came off. I don't know if it's true or not. I'm not saying you don't have the skills.
Right.
I'm saying that was the perception you left with the interviewer.
Yes. Yes.
So remember that the next time you go into an interview. That's what I'm trying to tell them, because every place should be a learning experience when you're going through the interview process.
Yeah.
And too many times people leave. I mean, like we're saying, the world is tough enough. I don't need to be extra paranoid when I'm looking for a job.
Totally. I love what Tammy I don't know if you saw that, what Tammy just put up. Hi, Tammy. Good morning. That it's tough to be magical with your elevator pitch. Keep networked so you can practice your magic. I love that. That might be a t-shirt. I'll just let you know, Tammy, and we'll give you props. No
Jamie, cat. Put that on a shirt.
Jamie on a shirt. We owe Tammy nothing. But it's true. Like, if you're not practicing constantly, don't think because I'm approaching decrepit age, like I still have to practice, because people will still ask me, what do you do? How do you do it? Why are you different than other organizations that might do what you do? What do you think the secret is to lasting as long as you have? What about this? What I have to be ready, because if I stand there and I'm like, well, shut up. Like, that's not,
really. I practiced my name for years. Katie hates it. I have, the podcast Inclusive AF, and I always say, and this is Jackie Clayton. Very particular. I say it that way on purpose.
Yes.
And I used to say, hi, I'm Jackie Clayton. Like I was, I don't know, because people always said Becky. And I was like,
for your first name, they thought you were saying Becky.
Yeah. I was like, it's Jackie. And they'd go, Becky?
No, not even close.
So I used to say Jackie Clayton. And they'd still say Becky. But I practiced my name. I felt really confident about who I was, of saying who it was. But it also helped them say their name in the same way. Yep. I try to match energy also when I'm meeting people for the first time, and the way that they introduce themselves. Try to match energy. So it kind of gives you permission to keep having the conversation. Like we're similar.
And I mean, I think that there's Scott, by the way, is kind of saying some of the things that you're talking about. I love that he recommends, is there anything else about me that I haven't answered that you would like to know? Because that opens a door for a continued conversation to figure out where there's alignment, just like you're talking about, Jackie. Like those are good questions, but you have to be ready to ask it. That's right. I've been interviewing for a couple of roles at Humoriso as an example, and I find by the end, they're not asking me that. Many of them are not. And so I'll say, is there anything else that you would like me to know about you? That hasn't come up yet.
When they're doing especially interactive, I was like, is there anything else that you prepared that you wanted to show me? Because have you ever prepared for an interview and you were like, they didn't ask me to do my tap dance and I've been working on it for 2 weeks, or they told me you were going to ask about bears and I know everything about bears. So I'd ask, is there anything else that you prepared, so that they don't feel weird about it? And it's okay if you didn't.
I prepared bears. I'm ready for the bear questions.
The Moonlight Sonata.
I love that you said that. And this is, I would say, on the hiring end. Oh, look. Oh, no. Oh, my gosh. Back to back. Dead. First of all, Todd, should we be nervous? Were you just furloughed?
Are you okay, Todd? Todd, literally my executive producer, has never watched one show.
Kathy won't either.
3+ years. He's laughing at us.
Dead. You just made us dead, because I was like, ooh, he got laid off. Like, that's the first thought that
I know. Are you home? And my brother.
Greg, I love that you're here, Greg. You know that. But I mean, in all seriousness, that I will say at the end of an interview, it's honestly habitual for me now. I will say, okay, here's what you can expect next, right? Kind of walk them through that. And if I say something like, hey, we're about a third of the way through interviews for this role, it'll probably be, 3 to 5 days before there might be some additional feedback that'll come your way. So I encourage you to keep an eye on your email or your voicemail. And, in case you don't recognize the number, we'll leave a message. But I do want you to know, between now and then, if there's anything that comes to mind that you think, gosh, we didn't get to talk about this, or shoot, I wanted to share this, or something came to mind later as a result of these questions, would you please email that to me or send it along? Because I want to make sure you feel like you put your best foot forward.
I say that. And you know what else I have to say? People don't know, especially when you're in a leadership position. I get so many emails a day. I will tell them, if I don't respond, I might have missed it.
Yeah.
I might have missed it. So please just just send another email to me or send me a text message.
I'm not mad when people say just putting this back to the top of your email, like they re-forward it to me. That doesn't make me angry.
No, because I need to. And I'm like, thank you. So I can get that piece, done on those types of things.
I do want to say, though, for those that are not in the job market right now, right? Like, you're content where you are, coaching is still a really important opportunity for you. And I know not every organization provides levels of coaching. Like, you have talked before about the access that you've had to coaching because of your organization, and you loved it, right? You've really enjoyed that.
Really, I have a coach, and here's the thing that happened the other day. Like, I was on a tear. I was like, let me tell you what happened.
Hold on. I want to imagine you on a tear. You got to give me 10 seconds.
It's hard.
Okay, go ahead.
It's kind of the way I look when I'm trying to get milk at the grocery store and I'm in a rush. I was just like,
right.
And she said, you're telling me these things that you're doing. Let me ask you a question. Were you asked to do anything outside of your title that you felt it was outside of your title or your salary? And I said, no. She was like, I'm just trying to check. I just want to make sure that we're on the same page. Were you asked to do something? Bitch said, were you asked to do something that wasn't your job? I was like, well, that was
that's when you're like, let me crack these knuckles because we're going to get into it now.
Were you asked to get out of the scope of your job or beyond your salary? She was like, I just want to make sure you aren't getting taken advantage of. This bitch has been my coach for 3 years. And I think I probably said, they asked me to do a spreadsheet, and spreadsheets are hard.
They're hard. Those VLOOKUPs, they suck. They do suck, by the way. They do suck.
But also, I want to say something else that's very important. You know that Textio went to have performance reviews. Not everybody has. And I say it doesn't have to be performance reviews. It's feedback. If you aren't getting feedback, it's a good idea for you to give feedback to your boss with, hey, just wanted you to know what to count on this week or this quarter or this month. And that's a good place to practice some of the tips that we're talking about. Because sometimes you have to be your own coach. And that's a real good way of kind of forcing a little bit of coaching back. Like, did this meet your expectation? This is what I'm planning on working on. How does this map out based on your priorities? Is this in alignment with what you were thinking that I would be getting done? Because I'm telling you, a lot of times when you do that, they'll be like, why are you working on that? Don't work on that. Work on this. Or this is the bigger priority right now. Or I did it. Do you have everything you need to do your job?
Yep. And I think that that really, for me, gets into this vein of accountability that often in coaching should be happening. Like, especially as you work your way up, right? So if you're a senior manager, director, and above, sometimes accountability gets watered down because you're like, I'm so busy. I'm the VP of such and of HR, of TA, of whatever. And it's just so busy. It's just so busy. It's just so busy that accountability honestly gets watered down because we use time to supersede the things that we need to be getting done. And I find that when you bring in that third party, when there's a coach that is really kind of dialed into a business understanding,
that's right.
They're able to really say to you, and at these accountability points, what is it that you say your objectives are? Let's talk about your goals. Right. These have been some of the same goals according to what you've shared over the past couple of years. Does this goal, number one, is it supposed to have taken 36 months to complete?
Right.
And I might feel like, Boy, you have no idea what I've been going through. But I need someone to say to me, you've had this goal, or basically this goal, for 3 years. What is it that's happening here with that?
Look at my brother said. He said that's what he needs. He just doesn't sit down and pay attention to himself.
Listen, Greg.
You're gonna have to
pull it's hard to be your own coach, though. Honestly, all jokes aside, I think it's a great point.
It is really hard. Hard. If you can get some like those mastermind groups or an accountability group where
Chamber of Commerce always
has one. At work, what we were talking about for my coach, we use Bravely. It's a benefit for all employees, even though I'm sure I'm the only one that uses it as regular, but it's like, I like using our benefits.
Well, that's why your coach is so angry with you. She was like, I thought I was going to get away with less work.
He's like, why is this still
calling me and calling me?
Why are you such a baby? She's like, why are you still here? You ain't coached.
Right. I'm sorry. Is this outside of your job title or salary?
Girl. Yes, she did do that.
I would take those earrings right off. Hang on now.
I put Vaseline on my knee. I put all my rings on. I was like, listen, coach, let me show you my left hook.
Hold up.
Now you just
listen, Linda.
Just because I had my new look at my new earring.
I love those earrings. Kathy likes once in a while to wear the big hoops, and I'm like, oh, girl, go ahead.
I went and let me tell you about coaching. Like literally,
I know.
I saw a meme and it said, I don't want to make you jealous, but I can still fit into my earrings that I wore in high school. And I'm like the same.
Yeah. Love that. I do. I have seen that meme. That's a great one. But the idea of, and Tammy was asking, right? So hopefully, Tammy, this is helpful about like how to find coaching. There are those apps. And again, we're not sponsored by Bravely, although Bravely, if you're listening, we'd be happy to.
Yeah, and I'm speaking at their conference in a couple of weeks too.
Oh my gosh, we'll deposit your check. Yeah. But I'm sure there are other resources like that are apps or online kind of access. But
just be careful. I mean, first
you have to be, yes.
Figure out just like a therapist, like a coach, get really specific. The best coach, there's a coach that isn't my personal coach that just said that he was offering me his services. He's been a business coach for over 15 years for people who are neurodiverse. So executives that are neurodiverse, because there's various challenges like making sure that you're organized, staying on task, the way that you communicate with other people sometimes is harsh and aggressive. When you're not trying to be harsh and aggressive, you're just trying to get to the point, just different things. So that's what he coaches. So as you're looking for coaches, see if there's ones that are in certain industries. It could be like, oh, I'm in the health field. Like they have a better understanding of what you're doing. Or there's other coaches that help people in social justice work. I mean, because there's things that a coach will tell you that sometimes in your work, you don't have the luxury of, like take a couple of days off. It's like, I can't take a couple of days off.
Right. You need a sabbatical for 3 months and you're like, thanks.
Right. Not helpful.
Like I love that you're saying all that. And I will also just add to say, just because someone has been in healthcare for 25 years does not make them a good coach. That
is not regulated. People need to know it's not a regulated field. I can call myself a coach.
Most coaches will do a session with you, a first session for free. Most will do that because you're feeling each other out, quite frankly. Like the coach has to, if the coach is at the level that they should be, they ought to have some professional basis for saying, hey, you know what? I've really enjoyed this conversation, but Jackie, I don't think I'm the best coach for what you're going through. Let me give you a couple of recommendations. I would love to work with you, but what you've described isn't really where I'm strongest. So I don't want to, go down a road with you that wouldn't serve you well. That's what you want to hear. Just like on the other side, you might say, I'm not clicking with you. I'm not vibing with you. Right. You're a lovely person, but I don't think this is the coaching relationship for me. So that first session ought to be free. I'm not saying it's a full hour, by the way. Sometimes it's 20 minutes, half hour, whatever, but it gives you a sense of, is this someone that I can have this kind? Because once you start talking to someone and they're working with you on areas where you're falling short, right? Those gaps, or your confidence, or, hey, you stink at time management, or you're not really doing a great job with your, especially for business owners. Like the company isn't profitable. we got to get down to the nitty gritty with
You're
some
not
stuff.
getting a day off.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah.
I also think there are some group apps online. I use Conscientious Leadership. It's put on with, I think her name is Gina, and I can't remember her last name. Used to be a recruiter for the Googles and the Netflixes of the world, and has one online where they can do that as a group. I also utilize Silk and Sonder, which is it's a planner, so you can plan every week, but you can plan as a group, and there's regular themes, and you do check-ins, and it makes making various recommendations that can help you self-coach. There's a like podcast bingo. It makes a recommendation of all of these various podcasts that you can listen to, and you try to get, a little bingo, a daily journal prompt, just different things that you can do. There's a lot of options. But I also think, and I love what Tammy said. First of all, we never know what we want to talk about. So this is great. We'll have another topic. But also, I do think that it's important. You're so funny. I do think it's important to talk about it. We should unpack that word accountability, because
I don't disagree. No. I always feel parental. Like, let's talk about accountability. You know what I mean? Like, because it comes across like that means I'm going to tell you you're not doing what you're supposed to.
Yeah.
I will also say to you, there are some great, besides the Chamber of Commerce, which is a great place to start. If you're in an area where you're like, I don't know anybody and I don't want to do my coaching online, I actually want to meet with somebody in person. There's nothing wrong with online. No. That's not what I'm saying. But some people like
make
personal
determinations first. Yes. There's so many options right now.
So go to the chamber to look. Yeah, totally. I know I'm a part of one called Trilogy Partners, where I'm one of the coaches that they offer there. So you might, and they're in person as well. They can be online, but they can also be in person. Like, go and do some Google searches for executive coaches, that sort of stuff. You don't have to buy what's on page one, by the way, because that's going to be the priciest.
Y'all forgot, because
listen,
we only have a couple minutes left.
This is Pretty Woman at the polo fields. That hat, I'm telling you, woo, 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 woo. You've got the whole.
And she had that polka dot dress, and I just have a straight dress. So it's like
polka dot dress on. That it was a brown with white polka dots. The one I
might have to.
I think you're going to give Clay a run for their money. I'm just saying.
Jenny Clark, yes, Jenny Clark. That's who I do my conscientious leadership. Love her, and I feel like she's my
Tammy.
Who I am. But
yes,
and I think Jenny Clark would say, "Love your hat."
I mean, look at this. I'm telling you. Yes, Kai, totally right. You're going to this event, but it's important to say you're emceeing or
moderator for the panel.
Yeah.
For the brunch. I love it. Yeah. I mean, where do I go? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So as we get up to the hour, I just wanted to and maybe I should just have a party. Everybody bring your hat.
We can do a red hat party, and right? Isn't that a thing? I've never been to one. I mean,
yeah, but I think that's for like, you have to be a little bit older.
Oh,
I don't think we have to be a little bit older. I'm just saying
we don't have to be any older. And
I saw something that we have to get ready for, and this is I'm not even ready for this day. It was when your kids become seniors, and I almost died. I was like, apparently we go through a whole life thing when our kids become seniors.
No, I don't want to know this.
We've got like 35 years.
I won't know my name. I won't know my name. I won't be a problem because I won't know who I am or what's going on.
I'm not going to care.
I won't care at all.
No.
Please, before we go, please, if you are in the market for a role, please be sure and if you're watching this afterwards, please continue to do it, because everybody that comments, by the way, we all get pinged when another comment goes in. So I'm sorry, by the way, if that annoys you, but that's just the way LinkedIn,
it's great. I think it's great.
Put your link into your profile and say what kind of work you're looking for, please. We've got lots of people reading and watching, so we appreciate everybody.
Yes. Oh, and I don't have a mug, but thank you, everybody.